If I had my way, everything would be so nice. This world would be like Paris. No, it would be a paradise. No one would ever have to say, I'm going to get my wish someday. All one would have to do is say, this is my order, if you may.
Welcome to the School Without Walls. I'm Anthony L. Hobbs, Sr., host of this educational program. The date is September the 8th, 2010. This is a pre-recorded program. My guest today is Reverend Eddie L. Harris, Jr., the pastor of Great Award Chapel African Methodist Episcopal Church, located on 6th Street. I don't recall the exact number, do you?
3700.
3700 6th Street. Yeah. So we're glad to have you with us, Reverend Harris. Our program, Reverend Harris, is designed to accent and present African American role models. That's our major concern, hoping that we can build the African American family, elevate it, I should say. We have so many negative images, so we're trying to do as much as we can. So we also talk about problems that can make the community a better community. Right. So we're glad to have you. Let us start with your origin. Will you tell us where you're from?
Sure. I'm proud to say I'm from the Sunshine State.
Sunshine State.
Orlando, Florida, the heart of Disney World.
Orlando, Florida.
That's my origin. Yes, sir.
Now, Orlando, what size is Orlando? Just give us about 3 of the largest cities, and where is Orlando rated in population?
Orlando, and it's been a while since I've been home. Orlando's grown since '03. Orlando, you could probably, from what I've seen thus far, put about 10 Pine Bluffs in it. It's just that large of a city. The population probably is upwards of 1.5 million now, close to it. It's a pretty big place. It's growing.
There's a resort there, I believe, in Orlando. Isn't there something nearby?
Well, it's Disney World.
Disney World.
It is Disney World.
It is Disney World.
SeaWorld.
It's really in the city?
It's in the city.
And SeaWorld is another resort?
Disney World, SeaWorld, and Universal Studios are all there. As a matter of fact, Universal Studios was exactly 5 minutes from my house.
I declare. So that attracts a lot of tourists, doesn't it?
Well, it really does. International tourists also. Orlando, I recall the days when Orlando was a cattle town. Then we went into fruit, and then of course the tourist industry came with Disney World, and it's been exponentially changed forever.
That is wonderful. Yeah. Now, what is the largest city in Florida, do you know?
Probably Miami.
Miami is
probably Miami. It always has been for the most part, and as we grow, it grows. But Miami probably boasts the largest population.
And Orlando is perhaps second.
Orlando's definitely second, no doubt.
I've been through there. Orlando is sort of on, it would be on the west, more or less the west side of the
It's central.
It's about central.
It's central. As a matter of fact, they call it Central Florida.
Central. And the other city you mentioned is on the east.
Yeah, Miami, down the southeast.
Southeast. All right. I did some study down there in Florida. I attended the University of Sarasota. That's down on the peninsula. Down the tip down there. Spent some time down there. What about your family? Are you married?
I'm married. As a matter of fact, I'm a newlywed. We just celebrated our 3-month anniversary on Sunday.
Bless your heart. Yeah. Bless your heart. So you're still in the honeymoon.
I hope to remain in the honeymoon.
I know what you mean. Is she with you here?
She is. She's a school teacher over at the 34th Street Elementary School.
Oh, you was fortunate there because she recently come to the community and she recently gotten a job there.
It's all
was she already here? She wasn't already here?
No. She's from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
But she had been teaching in Georgia, Atlanta area for about 15 years, and I met her. I pastored a church in Oklahoma that she grew up in, and I met her there just a year ago.
Which city in Oklahoma?
That was Lawton, Oklahoma. It was Barnett Chapel AME Church in Lawton.
I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, well that's wonderful. I really wish you luck in your marriage as well as your endeavor here as a pastor. So talk to us about some of your ideas and plans to help make this a better community.
Well, by and large, I come from a social justice ministry. I don't believe that ministry is church on Sunday morning and that's it. I believe that when folk really understand that Jesus didn't have the pews and the pulpits and the air-conditioned edifices that we have, but his ministry was out where the people are. And that's who I am. I'm a civil rights baby, so I certainly am attuned to, you know, justice and injustice and the polemic that exists there. And I'm about making sure, as best I can with God's help, that those who are marginalized understand that God has empowered some of us with certain resources and skill sets, that it's our responsibility to bring them in out of the cold and feed them and clothe them and console them and introduce them to Christ. So I don't know what impact I'm going to have on the city for that matter. I pray that whatever it is, that it really spills out in a pervasive manner, because any clergy, any person who's been blessed enough to have a calling on their life, the calling is not about them, it's what God wants to use them for.
Definitely.
And they should commit to give their all in all and be serious about ministry. I was sharing with someone, Dr. Hobbs, that as a matter of fact, it was a bishop a few years ago. I'm not in ministry to get the accoutrements of the world. I've had those things. Had the fine cars, the nice houses, slew of so-called friends, but that was not what God had preordained.
Right.
And he made that manifest. And I saw that those were not the things I was to have. I was to step in that pulpit and bring the people within the four walls, outside of the four walls, to minister, as theologian Howard Thurman would say, meeting people at their ashtray level, at the point of their need. And that's what real ministry is all about.
Definitely, definitely. You know, it's good for the young people to understand that things do not necessarily bring happiness. You know, a lot of youngsters are driving their, you might have seen these cars, they take an old car, they take these oversized tires that
put the hydraulics on them,
cost
and
more than a regular tire.
That's right.
And the older car burns less gas, but they're doing that to try to. Why do you think they do that? What do you think
Well,
about
they're kids.
They're kids.
You know, before
Immature.
when we were kids, we did things to impress our friends and family, and you know, that pridefulness kind of thing. We did that. I think problematic, however, for a lot of the young people in the cliques and the crews, as they call them, is that many folk in our generation, we've not set a good enough example to let them know that the material things of the world cannot bring you joy. They can only bring you temporary happiness. You know, things happen, things change, but when you have a relationship with Christ Jesus, you have joy within.
Right.
You can go to any store, any mall, and buy things to make you happy, but within a day or two or a season or two, the shine wears off. You want something else to make you happy.
You're definitely right about that.
But when you got the joy of Jesus, you know, people don't understand.
You find contentment.
You find contentment, you find peace, and you find empowerment.
That's so true.
You know, you find empowerment.
That is so true. Well, if you had to just speak directly to the community, anything else you want to say about anything pertaining to your ministry that would be
Sure.
uplifting?
I've been blessed to have been installed as the pastor of Greater Ward Chapel AME Church here in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I'm excited about my church. I'm excited about the members. I'm excited about the location, because it all spells need. There's a need that exists that we have not holistically addressed as of yet. And I was fortunate enough to have been able to attend and matriculate successfully at Turner Theological Seminary at the ITC in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm taking all of that equipping with the gifts and the skill set that God has in me, and prayerfully, with God's help and the help of the members of that church and the members in the community and my fellow clergy, those that are serious, we can transform a city, we can transform a nation if we work with what God has already put in us and given us to best utilize for his sheep, his people. So I'm excited. I've been tested, tried, and proven. There's no big mystery about what God can do. The mystery is why we don't allow God to use us for his glory and for his good, and not for our own self-aggrandizement. That's not what this is all about. So the church is ready, I'm on fire, the fire is spilling over, and it's going to spill over into the community. And I believe with my whole heart that in short order, Pine Bluff, the city of Pine Bluff and the surrounding areas, they're going to know that Greater Ward Chapel really is in this community to do something. And if I may, Dr. Hobbs, I would like to share with you what someone told me the other day.
Right here.
And it wasn't so much as they told us, but they just asserted, because our church, like many churches, have been going through some things. And our parking lots have been a little vacant, you know, membership had waned a little bit. And in conversation, they said that Ward Chapel, what's going on? Isn't your church dead? And my retort was, our church is not dead. We may be in the emergency room, but thanks be to God, we're not in ICU.
You're not in
Okay?
ICU yet.
We're not in ICU. So
Okay.
we're on the mend and we're getting ready to go out on the battlefield and do some things that God would have us do, which has nothing to do with fame or fortune or pridefulness. We are trying to do a greater work for the Lord.
All right, what we're going to do in just a few minutes, we're going to take a station break.
Sure.
But I want you to come back, if you can be more specific, if you will,
Yeah.
about some things you intend to do. I'll tell you one thing I would like to see happen. First of all, most of the churches here are Baptists, of course, as you know. Most
Right.
of the South is
It's
Baptist.
Baptist, absolutely.
But we have a number of African Methodist churches
We
here.
do.
But we don't come together as the Baptists do. See, the Baptists have an
Right.
association where they come together and strategize and discuss things.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that perhaps you might can encourage the other AMEs to come together from
Yeah.
time to time where we can share ideas.
Yeah,
You
we'll
see,
do.
We hope we can do that. We will be back in just a few minutes.
Tommy's a really good kid. He's really helpful around the house. He loves to play with his friends. He loves school, too. He's real smart. My Tommy would never even think about trying alcohol. Isn't that right, sweetie?
Real kids are curious about alcohol. 40% tried by the 8th grade. Talk early, talk often, get others involved.
Lafayette, what you doing?
I'm not gonna lie, definitely not easy.
Hey, whoa!
Just gotta get through the day.
How do you stop it?
Being used to doing something with a cigarette makes it hard doing it without one. If I can relearn to get through my workday without cigarettes, I can relearn anything without cigarettes.
Relearn life without cigarettes. Free at becomeanx.org. A new way to think about quitting.
Those of you who just joined us, I'm Anthony O'Hobbs, senior host of this educational program called The School Without Walls, and my guest is the Reverend Eddie L. Harris, Jr., the new appointed pastor of the Great Award Chapel AME Church that's located on the 6th Street, and the number again is
3700
3700
West 6th
West
Avenue.
6th Avenue. So he's here with us. We're glad to have him here in the city, and I understand he's a newlywed also. So we wish him all the luck in the world. Now, Reverend Harris, we were talking about some ideas you have.
Yeah.
Could you be more specific? What are some of the things, A, B, C, that you'd like to get going in your church community?
Right. My emphasis has a lot to do with the family.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of the families, in light of the recession, you'd be amazed how many people are already hurting and starving prior to the onset of the recession. And I'm blessed enough that Ward Chapel already has a feeding program. And we've had Brother Lacey and his wife Charlena, they have been really ushering this program in for some time, and it's something that's near and dear to me. One of the things I even shared with him recently was that I would like to see that even expanded to the point where our church would spearhead the initiative to establish a literal soup kitchen, where we would get a facility and get grant money and support money where we could staff it and we could feed the hungry at least 5 days a week, and prayerfully at some point 7 days a week we would have a feeding program where they could get a hot meal constantly, because part of what Jesus was about was stamping out,
Feeding the hungry.
feeding the hungry. So I'm excited that the church already has some kind of semblance of that. My goal is I want to expand on that.
Definitely.
And get a facility where the church is leading the battalion to feed people. I'm also interested in the high rate of high school dropouts. If you look at statistics tell us that we have more young black males incarcerated, be it prison or juvenile, than we do in school. Well, that's a life cut short. So if we don't do something to circumvent that before it gets started, we're just going to continue to be adding, insult to injury. I'm concerned then about tutorial programs. I mean, serious ones that work. I'm concerned about having state-of-the-art computers, learning apparatus for our kids to be able to compete on a global level. I'm also concerned with working with, I come out of government also. I believe in coalitions with the government. That's where your resources are, and for God's sake, those are the people that we vote into office
Right.
to do exactly what we're trying to do, and what better way to work with that entity and the entity of the various churches as a collective to address the dropout rate. Let's work towards retention and minimize recidivism, and you can only do that if we're working in cooperation one with the other. So I'm genuinely concerned about the family circle, the family entity, as to how to better impact it.
Well, actually, that is what this main focus on this program is, the family.
Okay.
Because in the family, we have the basic institutions,
Absolutely.
educational, we have the political, and we have religious. And if that's missing, you don't have a strong family.
You don't have a strong family.
So we get more ministers. We want to get more ministers involved in more than just the 11 o'clock service where you're feeling good and go home and do nothing. We've got to move from that.
I call it the spiritual crack fix. You come in, you get your fix,
Right.
and you go back out feeling good, but you don't do anything. With proper teaching, an excellent prayer life, Bible reading,
Right.
then we really not only understand, but we embrace what it is God would have us do as God's servants for God's people.
Definitely. On that note, we're going to stop for a break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Welcome to the Maya and Miguel Challenge. Meet Maya and the gang.
Oh, hi, I'm Maya.
Maya and her friends want you to get up and play, because it's always more fun to be active.
There's mountain biking, boating and fishing, mountain climbing and spelunking. Let's get started.
Get ready to take the Maya and Miguel Challenge.
Let's see.
Just go to letsmove.gov and look for Maya and Miguel. You'll find tons of fun activities that'll help keep you healthy and active. Muy activo. You can also check out healthy recipes to try with your family, play cool games, and get free downloads. So come hang out with Maya, Miguel, and the whole gang.
Goal!
Remember, whether you play sports, run, dance, or jump in place, just get up and play at least an hour a day.
I read that everyone should walk 20 minutes a day.
Make that 60 minutes a day and you've got it, Maya. And don't forget, eat healthy to be your best. Maya and Miguel will show you how at letsmove.gov.
It's one of the many ways to fight osteoarthritis pain. For more information on managing pain, go to fightarthritispain.org.
To those of you who have just joined our program, I'm Anthony Hobbs, host of this educational program called The School Without Walls. My guest today is the Reverend Eddie L. Harris, Jr., the host of the Great Award AME Church. And Reverend Harris, you were talking about feeding the hunger.
Yes.
You reminded me of a outstanding servant here in the community called Turner, Reverend Turner. As I mentioned to you during the break, Reverend Turner is responsible for at least about $10 million that have been brought into this country. He has a program called Weed and Seed.
Okay.
You might have heard
I'm
of that.
familiar with that.
And they are throughout the USA, but his leadership as the best in the nation. He's now lecturing and going other places to help set up this program. So he mentioned, he called it, community kitchen.
Right.
Hopefully we can get together and all work in concert and have a nice facility to feed the people. I have a 501c3 corporation called the Human Elevation Love Project, and I plan to do whatever I could in soliciting government funds, like you mentioned, to do some things in conjunction with other entities.
That's right.
So that is one of our things, and also one-time offenders, take them out of prison and try to have a dormitory to teach and guide them. That's something that we are working on.
Disabled veterans,
Things like
suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yeah, they need a place.
There's a pool of money out there for that.
So I just wanted to say that, and we should have about 4 more minutes now. Anything else that you wish to say, feel free to say it as far as kingdom building.
I hope and pray that we can get enough clergy to realize that though we may have respective denominations, well, we serve one God.
Yeah.
And if we could lay aside, if you will, our collars and our egos and understand that we're only in this because of God in the first place, I believe kingdom building can be a far more easy and far more effective if we would just be willing to, quote unquote, joint venture or collaborate one with the other and get it done. Because no one church is going to get it done. If that were the case, we would need all these churches. We genuinely need one another. Some can do this and others can do different things, but we need everyone participating.
Right, each personality has a unique skill, so we can put them together,
Absolutely.
what you're saying, right? And now, that's in line with what we do here on the program. We emphasize mentoring.
Yes.
And I'm sure you'll have a mentoring system in your church. We want all men, African American men of character, to be concerned about some youngster that needs you,
Absolutely.
that needs love, needs attention, and needs guidance. It doesn't mean that you have to have him daily with you.
Right.
You can let him know you care and have his phone number. I know individuals here in the community working with college, that you can mentor those on the college level.
Just have a presence in their life.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are occasions when they don't have book money.
That's right.
And it means a lot to give them $200 or $300 to carry
Book
on.
scholarship,
So
yes.
we need men like that. So this is what this is one of the things we are stressing here is mentoring and also tutoring. And when we said tutoring, don't do like some of us do, just get a bunch of nice computers and put them back there in a room and turn the children loose on them.
No,
we don't mean that, do we?
You have to do it with a great degree of intentionality.
Right.
First of all, you have to have the proper setting, and then certainly you have to have the right folk with the right skill set to actually do it. Because you don't want just anybody tutoring your children. So there's a lot of retired school teachers. There's some people who like to augment that, and they can come in. Then you want to have the right equipment, and then you have to have a curriculum and a plan.
Okay, we're going to shut down here in just a few minutes. Let me say to the community, we appreciate you watching the program, and keep in mind that you can purchase DVDs of each of the programs. They cost $5. The money does not come to this program, but whatever profit that comes out of this $5 goes to the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. You would go online to UAPB's website, and you can get the proper information. Again, I thank you for being here, and you have the last word.
Thank you, my friend. To God be the glory.
To God be the
glory. For the
glory.
things He's already done.
All right,
Amen.
That's good enough. Okay, we'll sign off here, Randy.